How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern with Jim Valley. And it is Tuesday here on this program, and you know what that means. The Tuesday Night War is tonight. NXT versus AEW. And we got a lot coming up on both of these shows here tonight. I'm going to get into it after the break. Full lineups for both of these shows going head-to-head. And all everyone's going to be talking about tomorrow is who won? But we'll get into that after the break because I got something to say about that. Chris Jericho extending his commitment to AEW is announced via Variety today. The 51-year-old Jericho has signed a 3-year contract extension with AEW. Takes his deal through December 2025. So we'll tell you more about that extension. Jon Moxley, of course, recently re-signed as well. We'll tell you what those deals entail, at least what we know. New weekly Ring of Honor television series looks close to becoming a reality, according to Tony Khan in Sports Illustrated. We've got the Rampage ratings from Friday night. Rampage did well by Rampage standards. SmackDown also did a good number, 2.274 million viewers. But there's an interesting fact about these SmackDown numbers that we shall talk about here. And of course, because it is Tuesday on this program, we've got the Raw recap. What happened on Raw last night? Well, we'll tell you about it. All of the matches, angles, way more similar to a Vince McMahon style show. And also those Triple H shows that were very, very patterned shows. Talking, 14-minute match. Talking, 14-minute match. Talking, 14-minute match. It was uncanny. Virtually every long match on this show, in fact, every single one, was 14 minutes long. He really likes a set amount of time for his matches. Back in a moment to kick it off, Observer Live.
Hey there, everyone. It's Denise Salcedo. I'm back with another commercial break. This time we are going to be doing Extreme Rules trivia. Here is part 1. Question number 1. How many Extreme Rules pay-per-views have there been, including the upcoming 2022 event? A, 10, B, 12, C, 14. The answer is 14. Question number 2. Which state has held the most Extreme Rules pay-per-views? A, Pennsylvania, B, New Jersey, C, Florida, D, Louisiana. The correct answer is A, Pennsylvania. Question number 3. What year was Extreme Rules held exclusively for the Raw brand? A, 2013, B, 2015, C, 2017, D, 2018. The correct answer is 2017. Question number 4. Who did CM Punk defeat at Extreme Rules 2009? A, Umaga, B, Jeff Hardy, C, all of the above, D, none of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. CM Punk defeated Umaga earlier in the night in a Samoan strap match, and then he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Jeff Hardy. Question number 5. True or false? The title of Miss WrestleMania was on the line at Extreme Rules 2009. The answer is true. It was Santino Marella wrestling as Santina Marella versus Chavo Guerrero and Vicky in a handicap hog pen match for the title of Miss WrestleMania, in which Santina Marella won. That's a wrap for part 1 of Extreme Rules Trivia. I'll be back with a round 2.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. We got a lot to get into here today. It's Tuesday, and I have posted a brand new poll up on my Twitter. You can all vote in the poll. It's not just a poll for my super followers. Although it'd be interesting if I had a separate poll for my super followers as compared to my the other followers.
Wait, you can't do that as
no,
part of your
I could,
many,
but
many
I didn't.
powers?
I didn't.
Why don't you?
Because
you should get a compare and contrast
I just
going
thought
on.
about it 2 seconds ago. You want me to just
put
go
it
like
up
this?
Yes.
Okay, calm down.
Yes, that's how long it takes
Listen.
for you to make a tweet.
Listen. Yesterday I did a poll. Who is winning the Tuesday Night War? And this was yesterday before Raw, okay? Because I deliberately was going to do multiple polls. So yesterday, AEW won 72% to 28%. That was the voting margin there. And then I have just put up another poll after Raw, but prior to the shows, which ends before the shows begin. And at this point, it is at 76% AEW, 24% NXT. Okay? Now, I found it funny yesterday that, I got a lot of these when I looked through, because I actually did look through the comments yesterday. I got a lot of these. The fans, this person says. The correct answer is the fans. This person here also says the fans. This person says the fans.
It's an old joke.
No one cares, this person says.
Well,
besides you.
It's a more modern troll, yeah.
Got a lot of those yesterday. Then we got, please stop calling it a war. There's literally one going on in Ukraine. It ain't that deep. All you're doing is fueling the fire. Okay, come on. But I did get a lot of those about, you're
How
fueling...
dare you not know where you are in the world of politics and social standing?
You're fueling the fire, people said. And then there's a bunch of them like this, too. Love that the responses aren't playing into this BS. The fans win. Stop being a troll. I'm a troll, okay?
Well,
then yesterday I saw on our own board, and one of the guys, I think may even be on the chat right here. I'm hoping he shows up so maybe we can have a chat. But he goes, the wrestling media has an agenda by building up this war.
The media's responsible.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's the media because we're talking about this, and I thought that was kind of funny. I'm making up a war out of nowhere. It's me. I am doing this, which is funny, by the way, because like what's my agenda? Because it's funny, on a normal Tuesday, all I have to hear is that NXT is my favorite show, and literally nobody likes NXT except me. But then when it's NXT versus AEW, now I got an agenda. Because I want to make sure that AEW wins.
Say literally no one except for you?
Yeah, and then other people. I had another funny one. They were talking about the because yesterday when the vote started coming in, I made a comment, which was absolutely sincere, but now it is a comment with an agenda. I said, you guys know that it's not a foregone conclusion that AEW is going to win. And I pointed out several reasons why. Well, AEW is the one that's moving to another night. That puts them at a disadvantage. NXT has got... Now we've got another person added to the show, by the way. They just added Kevin Owens to the NXT show. It's like there's tons and tons of main roster talent coming to the NXT show tonight. And somehow this has now become... Because I've pointed out all of the advantages that WWE and NXT have tonight, well, I'm literally setting this up so that AEW can win, and then we can have some, I don't even know what. Listen, everyone, I'm just going to read the lineups for both of these shows, okay? This is for everybody that thinks, like, I'm starting this. I'm making a big deal out of this war. I'm the one that's building up something that isn't there. This is the lineup for AEW and NXT going head-to-head tonight, all right? NXT has a segment with Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, and JD McDonough, which will be moderated by Kevin Owens. He's on the show tonight. Roxanne Perez will be facing Rhea Ripley. She's on the show tonight. Cora Jade will be facing Raquel Rodriguez. She is on the show tonight. Alba Fire will be facing Sonya Deville, who will be on the show tonight. The Schism will be facing Cameron Grimes and his partners, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. They're going to be on the show tonight. Stax Lorenzo will be facing an opponent of Tony D'Angelo's choosing, who will be somebody from Raw or SmackDown, who will be on the show tonight. And we've got Wesley and Oro Mensah against Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. That's on NXT. What do we have on Dynamite tonight? Well, we have an AEW World Championship match. Jon Moxley is defending the AEW Championship against former champion Hangman Page, who never got a rematch. We've got Toni Storm defending the interim AEW Women's title against Hikaru Shida in a championship match. We have the Death Triangle defending against Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends in a Trios title championship match on Dynamite tonight. In a Ring of Honor championship match, we're now at more championship matches than the Battle of the Belts. Chris Jericho will defend against Dalton Castle. There will be a promo by MJF. William Regal will do a promo with Tony Schiavone. And Renee Paquette, who signed last week, will be interviewing Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta. So you're telling me I'm making up a war? I'm stirring the pot here? No! I'm covering this. In fact, if we didn't cover this as a war, in fact, there would be an agenda there. There's absolutely a war. Both sides have loaded these shows up. Both sides are determined to win. Both sides, you know what? I don't want to say both sides don't care about fans, but both sides are not thinking, you know who's going to win tonight? The fans. No, both sides are thinking, you know who's going to win tonight? Us! So anyway, there's a war tonight, and I am covering it as such. If you don't like it, hit the bricks, geeks. Anything you want to add?
I think from how it sounded, from all of the words you said, from all of the times that you have used literally incorrectly here, the way I look at this, if you have a DVR, I think the winner is the fans. Because if you like pro wrestling, at the end of the day, I don't know about you, Brian. I don't get paid from Tony Khan, and I don't get paid from Paul Levesque. I get paid to watch wrestling, and I hope I enjoy it. Most of the people out there, they're not getting paid by anyone to do anything except they spend their own time and money to be a fan. So if you're a fan of professional wrestling and you're being offered up this bounty on 2 different channels that you can either watch all at once, go back and forth on, however you want to do it, I don't know. I think if I'm just a fan who's here for the entertainment of this stuff, I'm looking at myself as pretty much a winner tonight because these 2 guys want to go to war. Or these 2, I'm sorry, Miss McMahon, if Miss McMahon and her men are going to war against Tony Khan's, again, the winner is us.
A bounty. I'm glad, Mike, that a bounty has been dropped in your lap here as we approach Thanksgiving. Let's give thanks for the bounty of pro wrestling television that has been gifted to us fans out of the goodness of the hearts of Tony Khan, Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H.
Can I ask you a question?
This bounty.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why are you so upset?
I'm not upset at all.
Why
I'm
are you
laughing.
so fired up? Why is that something funny to you?
That we have a bounty
That the
dropped into our
fans are
lap?
watching, being able to watch a bunch of matches with a bunch of stars in them, including world title matches in theory on one channel and a whole
Listen,
bunch of big stars coming down on the other.
I'm
It's
happy-
like you're making fun of the fans for being excited.
No,
you're making fun of
no,
the fans for not
no,
being
you're not
angry
listening.
that they're not choosing a side on your Twitter and they just want to watch wrestling.
You need to
That's
calm
what you're
down.
doing.
You're going to have a heart attack. I'm making fun of the people who don't understand what this is and are pretending it's something it's not.
Oh.
It is not Tony Khan and Triple H providing you a bounty. They are, but that's not why this is being done.
Who cares? I'm getting a bounty. Take the free gift and shut up.
Wow. You know what you should do during this break?
What's that?
Meditate. We'll be right back, Observer Live.
Round 2 of Extreme Rules Trivia. Here we go. Question number 1. Who wrestled in a Kiss Me Arse match on Extreme Rules 2015? A. Neville versus Bad News Barrett. B. Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus. C. Sheamus versus Bad News Barrett. The answer is Dolph versus Sheamus. Question number 2. Who cashed in their Money in the Bank briefcase at Extreme Rules 2019? A. Braun Strowman. B. Brock Lesnar. C. Baron Corbin. The answer is Brock Lesnar. He successfully cashed in and defeated Seth Rollins to win the WWE Universal Championship. Next question. How did John Cena defeat Batista at Extreme Rules 2010? A. Taped his legs together. B. Handcuffed him to the ropes. C. With the attitude adjustment. The correct answer is he taped his legs together during their last man standing match. Next question. What did Alexa Bliss ask Braun Strowman to do during the swamp fight with Bray Wyatt? A. To end Bray Wyatt. B. To come home and follow her. C. To sacrifice himself. The correct answer is B. She asked him to come home and follow her because according to her, he's known that they've always wanted to be together. That's a wrap for Extreme Rules Trivia Part 2. I will be back with a round 3 shortly. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of Wrestling Observer Live.
I'm perfectly calm, dude. I don't know
So
about this
am I.
other guy.
I am perfectly fine. I am calm. I am just as calm as from the time we started the show. Okay? One of us is not having these, random fights with people online about what the meaning of bounty is and how dare
You want to
they
talk
be
about
happy.
bounties? I got
How
the
dare
meaning.
they be
I got the
happy.
meaning of bounty right here.
Oh, do you?
I got a bounty I'm going to present to all of you, my loyal, mostly viewers, because the listeners can't see it. But you know what I got?
What do you got?
I got the F4W bounty.
In a trash can.
Ah, look at that.
Oh,
No,
it's a
it's a
wicker basket.
cornucopia.
It's a Longenberger basket you have that thing
look
in?
at that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
is the wrestling bounty. I put it together
dork.
during the break.
You are.
You know what I'm going to have later? A turkey. I'm going to enjoy today's bounty.
What, are you going to watch yourself back? Ugh. My God. Getting upset with people.
You're telling me in 2022 you just called me a turkey?
Upset with people. I know.
I can't believe what just happened.
The FCC has been on my back recently, but you're
Like
calling
every day?
you're upset, and you're not even upset. I just can't believe that
I'm
you
not upset.
started
That's what I said.
The show with this over a poll, and you cannot believe that people are happy because they don't have to be on the front lines of this fight.
They're not happy.
And they're just
They're
happy about
trolling.
the fact that they're getting left over with all of this wrestling while you have to deal with all of it, including Dave for another night in a row. You won't get done with that show until 7 o'clock.
What was
this
that
morning,
website
Eastern time.
where they, for like a while they had this website that you could only be positive about wrestling? Remember that?
Yes.
That lasted
Did
a
not
week.
last long. Yes.
All right, let's talk about some other news here. There's plenty. Chris Jericho extending his commitment. Should I mute you during this news about Chris Jericho? Because it's usually like a trigger for you. And you've already
ahead.
turned pretty red
Go ahead.
today, so.
Go ahead.
Chris Jericho is extending his commitment with AEW. It was announced via Variety Day. A 51-year-old had signed a 3-year contract extension, which takes his deal through December of 2025. He would be almost 55, I believe, at that time. But I'm not very good at math, so I could have that wrong. Like the extension recently signed by Jon Moxley, Jericho will take on new duties in addition to his in-ring role. Jericho will now be a producer and creative advisor for AEW, and he will continue to mentor young talent. Jericho spoke to Variety about his decision to sign an extension. I guess the simple answer, he said, is why not? Things have been going so well in the company. I really do feel this is my company. It is tattooed on my heart, so to speak. I've been here since day one. There's really no reason not to be here continuing forward. When AEW first started, I think basically it was Chris Jericho and a group of very talented people that might not have been as well known. Within 3 months, that changed. Now, within 3 years, we've got at least a dozen, maybe 24 of our own homegrown stars that came into their own on AEW television. Tony Khan also issued a statement, said Chris Jericho long ago cemented his legacy as one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. Fortunate to have his skills, charisma, knowledge, and insight in AEW for years to come. Chris discovered a fountain of youth this year. He is having some of the very best matches of his legendary career against some of the top names in wrestling. In expanding responsibilities, he'll continue to serve as a valuable leader with our roster, having the opportunity to utilize one of the most creative minds in the history of wrestling. Talks about his Ring of Honor championship, the 8th world title he has had in his career. And he also adds, yes, Mike?
Nothing.
No, go ahead.
Bigger belt mark than you.
I think he booked himself as the Ring of Honor champion, or do you think that maybe the promoter booked him as a champion because he saw the value in him as the champion of the organization?
I don't know. I know Chris Jericho says that he is pretty much walking around unfettered right now when it comes to creative in that company. So who knows what could take place? I don't know. I'm not on the payroll, though. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, I'm not on the payroll either, Mike, but I can tell you this.
Oh, yeah?
A new weekly Ring of Honor television series looks closer to becoming a reality. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, published on Tuesday, Tony Khan stated that there will soon be, quote, great news about weekly Ring of Honor shows. Khan said there will be one more Ring of Honor pay-per-view before the end of the year, and Ring of Honor plans to follow that up with a weekly show in 2023. We'll have great news soon about Ring of Honor weekly shows. The success of Death Before Dishonor on pay-per-view has ensured there will be more Ring of Honor pay-per-views. Our goal is to have one more great pay-per-view for Ring of Honor in 2022, and then follow that up with a weekly show in 2023. And then he puts over Chris Jericho. Says, I'm a huge fan of Chris Jericho. I followed his career for over 27 years. I believe he's putting forth one of the greatest years of his career this year, he said. He is one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling, and he is incredibly valuable for AEW. I would say that is a true statement, Mike.
I would say it is too, Brian.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
the right person to have the ROH title right now is Chris Jericho, because you are trying to get a television deal for that company. So his victory, him having that title, with all of the things that he has done outside the ring, his name does carry weight to it. With the books, with the appearances on TV, the voiceover work, all that sort of stuff, he has embedded himself in nicely into the entertainment industry, where I'm sure people at Warner Brothers Discovery know who he is, as well as people outside of Warner Brothers Discovery knowing who he is. So him having, being the face of that company or being the face of that product is great. Now, will they get a television deal in 2023? I don't know. I don't know if this ends up being a streaming thing and a platform that maybe is is facilitated by Warner Brothers Discovery or something like that, but I'm still not sure if they're going to get a TV deal, and I don't think it's the worst idea in the world if they don't, as long as they have something, rebuild an honor club, rebuild a base to get things back up, because at the very least, with the right promotion and with what you can do with AEW TV, those ROH quarterly pay-per-views or however you want to run them, they're going to be successful.
We have the ratings for Rampage and SmackDown. Rampage did 458,000, up 13.4%. Still the second lowest audience total since September 9. Did a .17 on the cable charts, which actually is up 30.8% from the previous week. So, show did, by Rampage standards, well. SmackDown did a very good number, 2.3 million viewers, basically. It was up 1.4% from the previous week. Best total audience for the show since September 23rd. 18 to 49, SmackDown top network television with a .54, which was identical to the rating drew the previous week. Anyway, let's talk about the thing that I found fascinating here. Let me read this line again, everybody. It's the best total audience for the show since September 23rd. Do you know what that means, everybody? Why, it means that September 23rd still did better. You know what that means? That means, for reasons that I cannot explain, the White Rabbit teases that Bray Wyatt would be on SmackDown actually led to a higher number than WWE telling us Bray Wyatt is going to be on SmackDown Friday. Why? I can't explain it. But when we get the quarters, we'll kind of see, how it did. But that kind of is fascinating to me. Like, teasing that he'll be there actually drew more curiosity than just telling people that he was going to be there. That's a story.
Well, that's interesting. Thank you for that, Ross.
It's weird. That's
a little wacky.
It is wacky. That's like saying, that's like planting a seed that The Rock is going to show up on a show and it just skyrockets. Then a week later going, hey, you know what? Friday, The Rock's going to be there, guaranteed. People are like, nah. Not a surprise.
I can't imagine what the ratings will be once The Rock does come back, if The Rock comes back after football is over and after things start to shake out at the beginning of the year. If we are really, truly building towards he and Roman at WrestleMania, it'll be interesting to see what kind of bump at this point he's more than The Rock at this point, obviously. He's Dwayne Johnson. He's a filmmaker, a politician, or a possible politician. He's everything. So we'll see what that actually means once he comes back, if he comes back.
And by the way, Brendan Thurston gave the quarters for the Rampage show. And we were wondering, was there a big lead-in, or what was it that helped a Rampage? And it was not the lead-in. Because the first segment on the show was not the highest rated segment of the show. The second quarter was, which is unusual. Usually the show opens and then falls throughout the show. But Rampage, for whatever reason, opened at 454,000, grew to 500,000, 500,000, fell again, and then rose again. So it went like this. And the highest rated segment on the show was, of all things, well, I guess it was a number of things, but The Tony Storm video, and Nyla Rose and Anna Jay was in that segment. And also the Jericho Appreciation Society, the Demo God did it again. The Dalton Castle promo setting up the Ring of Honor Championship match. That was the highest rated thing on the Rampage show on Friday. And I don't think we've got quarters for SmackDown yet. But my guess is that unlike September 23rd, it does not appear that anything did 3 million viewers like that Otis match with Braun Strowman.
That was not a bounty.
It was a bounty to me. I liked that match. Back in a moment. Observer Live.
Hey there, everyone. It's Denise Salcedo, and I'm back with some commercial break trivia. This time, we are going to be doing some AEW Full Gear trivia. Let's get right to it. Question number 1. In what city did the first ever Full Gear take place at? A. Jacksonville, Florida. B. Baltimore, Maryland. C. Newark, New Jersey. D. Minneapolis, Minnesota. The first ever Full Gear was held in 2019 in Baltimore, Maryland. Question number 2. At Full Gear 2019, who was the corner man for Cody in his match for the AEW World Championship against Chris Jericho? A. Dustin Rhodes. B. Brandy Rhodes. C. MJF. D. None of the above. The correct answer is MJF. Question number 3. At Full Gear 2019, what 2 women were in the AEW Women's World Championship match? A. Riho versus Emi Sakura. B. Riho versus Bea Priestley. C. Riho versus Nyla Rose. D. None of the above. The correct answer is Riho versus Emi Sakura. Riho defeated her to retain her AEW Women's World Championship. Question number 4. Who did Orange Cassidy wrestle at Full Gear 2020? A. Darby Allin. B. Sammy Guevara. C. Wardlow. D. John Silver. The correct answer is John Silver. Question number 5. True or false? Jon Moxley has main evented every Full Gear from 2019 through 2021. A. True. B. False. The answer is false. He did main event in 2019 in an unsanctioned lights out match against Kenny Omega, and again in 2020 in an I Quit match against Eddie Kingston for the AEW World Championship. However, he did not main event in 2021. That's a wrap for this trivia video. I will be back with a part 2 of AEW Full Gear trivia, but now back to the show.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. So before we get into the Raw report, Brandon Thurston did post the quarters for SmackDown. And I won't give you all of them. If you want the whole thing, you can subscribe to his Patreon. But here are the two most notable things. Number 1, Bray Wyatt's return did not do 3 million viewers. And in fact, was not the highest rated quarter of the show. Now, it did have a tremendous amount of growth, but that's largely because it came following the death spot, so there was big growth right there. But it did 2.3 million viewers, so the tease that he would be there easily did over 500,000 viewers more than him actually being there, if you look at these numbers. And the highest-rated segment on the show was actually quarter 3, which featured, once again, Braun Strowman. It featured a lot of things, but the Braun Strowman squash match was in that segment, as well as the angle with Damage Control and a commercial, which is telling you something, by the way.
Commercial was hot.
This Braun Strowman, let me tell you. And a short angle with the Bloodline.
He's been a bounty to the ratings, is what you're saying.
He has. And believe it or not, you know what tied the Bray Wyatt quarter?
What?
L.A. Knight versus Mansoor, an L.A. Knight promo, another ad, and the Damage Control versus Perez and Shotzi match, which is actually also interesting because my YouTube TV, I guess there must have been a preemption or something, so the version that was put up on YouTube TV was only an hour and 36 minutes, and that's actually the segment that they cut. So anyway, numbers are funny, huh? I'd say so.
They are.
They are funny. All right, we ready for this Raw report?
I guess.
There's really not a lot to talk about here, brah. This was more like it's kind of like how it was. Here's the thing about the Triple H shows that this is my fascination with them of late. For whatever reason, every week, it's like he chooses a number, and then every match is that number. So like a couple of weeks ago, it was 18 minutes. And like every match on the show was like 18 minutes long with maybe one exception. And then last week it was weird because last week it was like 8 minutes. Every match, for the most part, got 8 minutes. And then this week, the magic number was like 13, 14 minutes. Virtually every single match was 13 or 14 minutes long. And they all had, it was the same pattern. Long talking segment, match. Long talking segment, match. The whole show. So last week's show I thought was way better than this show because this was that same pattern again. And man, let me tell you, struggled to stay awake, starting with the Baron Corbin matches we'll get to. So the show opened up great. Bobby Lashley's in the ring, calls out Brock Lesnar. They don't waste no time. Lesnar comes out, and it's on, like neck bone. And they battle, and they brawl, and they beat the crap out of each other. All these geeks come down.
Dare use that again.
And, yeah, it was a good, fun, wild brawl, and Lashley put him through a table. So it was actually interesting because last week, we were talking about Lashley and how, man, that guy was Geek of the Week after last week's show. But they went out of their way this week to try to remedy that. He was not Geek of the Week this week. He put a beating on old Lesnar. We had Gallows and Anderson beating the Alpha Academy, and OC hit the Magic Killer for the win. And then out comes the Judgment Day, and they're making fun of Gallows, Anderson, and AJ. And they challenged him to a match at Crown Jewel, where Finn grabbed his jewels to make that challenge. And then then AJ goes, why don't you just do it tonight? And they're like, we're not doing it tonight. And AJ made fun of old Dom. So Rhea steps up for Dom. And essentially, Dom versus AJ gets signed for later on tonight. And Dom's not exactly thrilled until his woman says, you're a man, right? And then he decides he is a man. So that's signed for later. We had a Seth Rollins promo. Same stupid gimmick. Same stupid dancing. I don't get it. You know what I noticed this week?
What's that?
This week, he's got the big graphic. And it goes, Seth freaking Rollins. I don't even know why he's freaking. Does he freak out all the time? I guess he does if you watch his entrance. And then, I realize they've called him this forever, but I just noticed it. He's the visionary.
Used to be.
No.
He still is?
He's the visionary. They put it in big block letters on his entrance.
Oh.
So now, you know what he is now?
What's that?
He's Lacey Evans in NXT. What? He's a guy, and he's just got 85 gimmicks all going on at the same time. I don't know what's going on. He's, okay, what do we got? He's freaking, whatever that means.
Yeah.
For a while there, he was an architect. Like, he built structures.
Well, yeah.
He's apparently a conductor. We know that, right? Because he does this when his music, the people sing his music, which I don't know what this music has to do with anything. So he's a conductor and an architect.
Yeah.
He's a visionary.
Visionary, yes.
So I guess he's ahead of the curve.
Well.
Is that what that means? He's a visionary? Yeah, for a while he was a messiah, but I guess he's not a messiah anymore. But he's a visionary and a conductor and a building builder. And apparently, is he a fashion maven? What's with the fashion stuff? Like the jackets and the glasses? Is he like some guy that walks the runway? Can somebody, and I mean this, listen, I'm a big fan of Colby Lopez. He's a fantastic wrestler. But can anybody explain to me what's his gimmick? Anyone?
Pro wrestler?
I mean, I'm looking at the chat here and it's like, the Joker. He is? He doesn't tell jokes. Right? Did he try and blow up cities? No. In fact, he's an architect, which goes against the whole idea of trying to blow up a building, which the Joker did. What, he builds it and then blows it up? Oh, that's a cool gimmick. So anyway, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, the laugh. Don't even get me going on the laugh. So he cuts a promo.
He's also a father and a husband, Bryan Alvarez.
Hey, listen, I have nothing against Colby Lopez, the father and husband. I'm asking a question about Seth Rollins, the architect, visionary, conductor, Joker. I don't get it.
Well, as far as fashion maven goes, you may actually have to ask his wife, who's
Dude, she
suffered
dropped
through
that.
some of the same...
Did you forget? She
Well-
dropped that when Triple H showed up. So anyway, Ali comes out and he wants Rollins, and they have a brawl. Then we had Io Sky and Dakota Kai versus Bianca and Candice, and it was a non-title match. Candice was defeated, and so they will not be getting a championship match by my calculations. But I'm not a mathematician, so we'll see what happens here, because I don't have multiple gimmicks. I only have one. Then we have Riddle doing a promo, and he tells old Ali, if I win tonight, I'll give you a shot. You deserve it. And then Miz is over there clearly faking a knee injury, which leads to literally nothing later. Cora Jade asks Rhea Ripley to be her whatever, and Rhea says yes. Then we had, dude, this JBL. Say what you want about JBL. I've said a lot of things over the years. I've said more about JBL than I have about Seth's current gimmick, by the way. But, bro, this guy can talk. And, man, this guy came out and they gave him a mic, and he was great. First, he starts with the cheap heat, talking about football, making the fans hate him. Then he starts introducing, of all people, Baron Corbin, who's no longer happy. He's a Baron again. And he calls him out, and he tries to put this guy over like he's comparing him to Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan. He is the new wrestling god. So then they have a match with him and Dolph Ziggler where Dave's trying to explain, well, the idea is they want you to think that he's a wrestling god. So we're going to go 14 minutes with Dolph Ziggler. Bro, I'm not even kidding. I was like, I got to pause the show and, like, take a nap because I ain't going to make it.
That's actually where I turned off and went to sleep.
It went on and on. And it wasn't like it was bad, but... what has his thing been for years? Boring Corbin. And this match was largely boring. And I struggled. I managed to stay awake, so congratulations to me. And Corbin won, finally, after 13 minutes and 38 seconds. JBL raised his hand, and I was like, bro, every week I'm going to have to put up with this? I so much preferred Happy Corbin and Madcap as a goofy duo telling stupid jokes. Far superior to this. And, of course, Miz is making up some excuses, but then Johnny Gargano says the name of Dexter Lumis. He leaps to his feet. He's not hurt. And he's like, well, I'll go wrestle now. You wasted so much of my time with that angle. MVP and Omos vow to be at SmackDown because, these Borders, there are no borders. Unless you're Ray. Then there's a strict border wall between Raw and SmackDown. We have Dominic versus AJ. And there was nothing wrong with this match. But following that Corbin match, I could not take 15 minutes of Dominic and AJ. I've got, like, on the cartoons, I got toothpicks holding my eyes open. I'm trying so hard. And finally, at the end, there's interference. Rhea grabs AJ's leg. Dominic rolls him up for the pin. The announcers are playing it up like it is the biggest upset in World Wrestling Entertainment. And I quote, in years. Well, the problem is, on every single solitary show, we have multiple instances of outside interference leading to a pinfall. So there was zero impact to this whatsoever. Nobody watched this and thought, my God, they'll be talking about this victory like they talk about the 1-2-3 Kid and Razor Ramon. No, they will not. It was another distraction finish on Raw, and Dom won. Dexter Lumis and The Miz, after being advertised for a week with Stips, didn't happen. Miz beats him up, leaves him laying, no match. But, you know, card is subject to change, so who cares? Then we had Damage Control doing a promo. They announced Belair and Bayley next week. We've gone from a championship ladder match to a non-title singles match with no Stips next week. That's how we're building up this feud. Gargano's meeting with Miz. Miz has a secret involving Dexter Lumis. But we have to wait to find out what it could possibly be. Elias returned. He says his brother's career was tragically cut short.
Tragic.
I don't know if I would refer to that as a tragedy, but he did. So anyway, he
At least it's not a war.
he's gonna play the Tickle the Ivories.
The keyboard?
Riddle comes out. They do some comedy. And then he is interrupted by the conductor, architect, Messiah, Joker. And then a match begins. And you'll never guess. Another 14-minute match. But hey, you know what? It's Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, so it was a good match. Or at least we had that. And Elias is outside. Rollins wants Elias to attack him so that he'll retain his title via DQ. Elias won't attack him. So Seth super kicks Elias. Seth gets in the ring. Riddle goes for the RKO. Elias enters the ring. Riddle is shoved into him. Elias falls outside. Seth curb stomps him and wins. And then we're moving on to Ali. Ali attacks Rollins, and we'll have a title match at some point. It was a show. TM Vinny Verhey. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Denise Salcedo, and I am back with some more trivia games for you while we wait for Wrestling Observer Live to resume. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and play Finish the Lyric. How it's going to work is I'm going to show you a lyric on the screen, and you have to figure out the missing words. Let's play. Question number 1. The full lyric is, I hear voices in my head, they counsel me. Randy Orton's theme song. Question number 2. The full lyric is from Sheamus's theme song, and it should read, and I will see you riding straight to hell. Question number 3. The full lyric is from Batista's theme song, and it should read, I walk for miles inside this pit of danger. Question number 4. The full lyric is, it's a big bad show tonight, from Big Show's theme song. Question number 5. The full lyric is from Shane McMahon's theme song, Success in My Blood, Call It Homegrown. I hope you guys had a good time with that one, but now let's go ahead and head back on over to Wrestling Observer Live.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com.
Shame.
Hold on. I got to say something.
Go ahead.
Listen, I hesitate to even say this. I'm begging you guys. Nobody listening to this write a story about this, okay? I have zero inside information, okay? This is 100% my gut, all right? When I watched that segment last week with Moxley and the Hangman, and the Hangman goes, I've lost everything. My title, my friends, the whole 9 yards, okay? Man, I saw that and I thought, dude, I have no idea what's going on with this investigation. I have no idea when they're going to wrap it up. But man, I saw that and I thought, I don't know, dude. Like, I saw that and I thought, Hangman is going to lose tonight. He's going to lose his title chance. I'm not going to say opportunity. I hate that word. He's going to lose his title match tonight, but he's going to get his friends back. And, dude, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but that would be an ending to that show if that's what they ended up doing. And I wouldn't even have brought any of this up if they hadn't done that promo. And I think that may be why, like, Dave went off about how they should tell us something, because now everyone's expecting people to be here or there. Like, I guess people were expecting Kenny Omega to be there last week at the show in Canada. And, man, we'll see, dude. No, it's not a scoop. It's just I watched that promo. And it may very well have been that they threw that in there thinking, man, let's see if we can get it done. If we can, Shazam. If we can't, it was just a throwaway line. So we'll see what happens tonight. But it's going to be a big night one way or the other. Right, Mike?
I don't know. I have to hear what a wizard might say about that, or a sports entertainer, or a Lionheart, or a Jack Action, or somebody like that with too many nicknames on a roster.
Maybe tomorrow I'll tell you my wife thought about the name Jack Action. Have a bountiful night, my friends. We'll talk to you again next time. Wrestling Observer Live.